اشكرك بلغت عند جهان مهندس عبد الله
يلا
This budget will be a public safety and national security budget.
President Trump's full budget plan will be revealed Tuesday night, but he provided a preview during a speech to the National Governors Association. Here's the highlight. Defense spending gets a $54 billion boost at the expense of non-defense programs and foreign aid.
We're going to do more with less.
Democratic lawmakers are already fighting back.
We don't know where the cuts are coming from, but it's hard to see with this magnitude of cuts that, once again, middle-class people, working families are going to be hurt.
White House Budget Director Mick Mulvaney says the president is just fulfilling his promise to keep Americans safe.
It's one of the largest increases in history. It's also the number that allows the president to keep his promise to undo the military sequester.
Already, the Environmental Protection Agency is bracing for cuts while Democrats are preparing for a budget battle.
We review the strength of our country to be measured, certainly, in the source of our strength of our military, but also in the education of our children, the health and well-being and welfare of the American people.
Trump makes his formal budget proposal Tuesday evening during his first address to a joint session of Congress. In Washington, I'm Stacey Cohan reporting.
It was an orgy of obliteration wrapped up in the usual slick production. No one boasts barbarity like ISIS.
In the spring of 2015, the extremists meticulously documented their destruction of the ruins of the ancient city of Nimrud.
Founded in the 13th century BC. They took their sledgehammers to the city's famous winged bulls, the Lamasu, reducing them to a pile of rubble. Iraqi forces recently retook Nimrud, just south of Mosul. We came to have a look, lone visitors to a lonely hilltop that hasn't seen a tourist in years. The scale of the vandalism that took place here boggles the mind. Only ISIS could turn ruins into ruins. By some estimates in northern Iraq, the extremist group destroyed or severely damaged around 80 sites, archaeological ones like this one, as well as Muslim and Christian shrines. Through the warped lens of ISIS's logic, all idols must be destroyed. Their every action here nothing less than utter contempt for Iraq's rich multi-millennial history. And that includes the remains of the vast Assyrian Empire that once stretched from the Persian Gulf to the Mediterranean Sea, the ruthless superpower of its day. The statues, the cuneiform inscriptions now lie in pieces, exposed to the elements. In ancient Mesopotamia, ordinary structures like houses or shops were made out of mud bricks. With time, they simply turned into dust. But for the statues of the gods and the kings, they used stone. The purpose was that they would last for eternity. That is, until ISIS came along. Archaeologists may someday be able to piece some of this together, but that won't happen until the war against ISIS comes to an end. There is gold in this hill. In 1989, Iraqi archaeologists uncovered what became known as the Treasure of Nimrud. More than 600 pieces of gold jewelry and ornaments, considered to be one of the greatest archaeological finds in history. No doubt ISIS, not above the love of money, was searching for more treasure when their cameras weren't rolling. But the Assyrians built their tombs here with a curse, damning the souls of those who violated their sanctity to wander and thirst through the open countryside, restless for eternity. A curse that may soon come true. Ben Wiedemann, CNN, Nimrud, Northern Iraq.
Basta! 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 Basta!
Well, it's extraordinary to see so many people protesting here in the centre of the Russian capital. They're chanting, Russia will be free, and of course they're demonstrating at the second anniversary of the killing of Boris Nemtsov, one of Russia's most prominent opposition figures who was gunned down 2 years ago, literally in the shadow of the walls of the Kremlin. And it's killings like that that most dismays opposition figures in this country when they hear the US President Donald Trump talk about his respect for Vladimir Putin and talk about wanting to do a deal with this country, a deal with the Kremlin, because they say it legitimizes the culture of political violence in Russia and makes it much more difficult for them to achieve their aims of a Russia without Putin. What do you think that Boris Nemtsov, if you were here today, would say about Donald Trump's desire to do a deal with the Kremlin and to have respect for Vladimir Putin?
Well, as I said, I think, as your president says, he would say that this is sad, because our president right now is a total dictator, and we don't have freedom of speech. We don't have any freedoms right now.
Why have you come to the protest today? Why come to...
I don't believe in Putin. I think that he is a tyrant, and I don't like his politics at all. And I respect Boris Nemtsov so very much. He was a hero.
Well, you can see many of the demonstrators are carrying these banners with images of Boris Nemtsov on them. This one's saying our advantage over the regime is honesty. It's still very much a live political issue here. In fact, 5 people since October have been on trial for the killing of Boris Nemtsov. They've all pleaded not guilty. And family members and colleagues of the opposition leader say they're concerned that the real killers and the people who ordered the killing of Boris Nemtsov may never be brought to justice. Matthew Chance, CNN Moscow.
For 40 Mike, they can take it now and move up and try to mark that location.
American soldiers, they declined to share their names, are setting coordinates for ISIS positions, just a little over a mile away from the extremists. They never fired their sniper rifle, but used it to identify targets. Nearby, they assemble a drone. Pentagon officials say U.S. service personnel are operating ever closer to the action. The bombardment of western Mosul is intense and steady. Iraqis flying Russian-made Mi-35 attack helicopters blasted ISIS targets inside the city. Rapid Response Force Major Wissam says resistance has been stiff because ISIS fighters realize they're cornered. They're surrounded, he tells me. There's no escape. Either they die fighting or they surrender. The airport on the southern edge of the city is in ruins, the runway strewn with concrete blocks. The fighting is proceeding at an accelerated rate. Iraqi forces may be eager to avoid a repeat of the grueling 3-month offensive to liberate the eastern part of the city.
Taking Mosul airport was really just the first step. Now these Iraqi forces are heading into the city proper. That's when the real battle will begin.
A battle in which Americans may play an even greater role.
افغانستان هم به جمع کشورهایی می‌پیوندد که مدارس زنجیره‌ای فتح‌الله گلن را تعطیل می‌کند. گلن روحانی منتقد دولت ترکیه از سوی اردوغان متهم به کودتا در این کشور است. او در بیش از 100 کشور مدارس اسلامی را تحت پوشش خود دارد، از جمله همین افغانستان که 20 مدرسه گلن در آنجا فعال است. این مدارس در افغانستان تحت عنوان مدارس افغان ترک شناخته می‌شوند. حالا اشرف غنی رئیس جمهوری افغانستان میگوید مالکیت این مدارس به زیر مجموعه‌های دولت ترکیه واگذار می شود. ترکیه اخیراً از کشورهای همپیمان خود خواسته تمامی مدارس تحت پوشش گلن را در کشورشان تعطیل کنند. هولوسی آکار رئیس ستاد مشترک ارتش ترکیه با ژنرال فیاض هم در رویلی از مقامات ارشد نظامی عربستان در آنکارا دیدار و گفتگو کرد. اخیراً ترکیه با کشورهای حاشیه خلیج فارس در زمینه همکاری‌های نظامی گفتگوهای مستمری داشته. چند روز پیش مقامات ترکیه حتی به امریکا پیشنهاد کرده بودند به جای نیروهای هشت شعبی در عراق و نیروهای یپگ در شمال سوریه به ارتش عربستان و قطر نقش اجرایی بیشتری در قالب نیروهای ائتلاف ضد داعش داده شود. به نظر می رسد همکاری‌های اخیر نظامی ترکیه و کشورهای حاشیه خلیج فارس ناشی از نگرانی‌های موجود از نفوذ ایران در منطقه است. هولوسی آکار بلافاصله پس از این دیدار با بینالی ییلدیریم نخست وزیر این کشور و اردوغان رئیس جمهور دیدار و گفتگو کرد. به نظر می رسد تمامی این گفتگوها حول محور عملیات رقه باشد. روزنامه یعنی شفق در این باره می نویسد اردوغان در مورد عملیات رقه با مسئولان کشوری دیدار کرد. مسعود بارزانی رئیس اقلیم کردستان عراق پس از دیدار با اردوغان شب گذشته نیز با بینالی ییلدیریم نخست وزیر این کشور دیدار کرد. اگرچه از این دیدار هم جزئیاتی منتشر نشده، اما روزنامه ملیت می نویسد ییلدیریم در مورد عملیات رقه با بارزانی گفتگو کرده. از سوی دیگر خبرهای تایید نشده‌ای حکایت از آن دارد که همزمان با سفر بارزانی به آنکارا ترکیه بر تعداد نظامیان خود در اردوگاه بشیقه افزوده و تعدادی نیرو همراه ادوات نظامی به این پایگاه فرستاده. مخالفان سوریه مورد حمایت ترکیه مدعی شدند اسنادی در دست دارند که نشان دهنده همکاری رژیم اسد با داعش است. آنها میگویند این اسناد را در جریان مذاکرات اخیر ژنو به استفان دمیستورا نماینده سازمان ملل دادند. از سوی دیگر میخائیل بوگدانوف مشاور وزیر خارجه روسیه نسبت به عدم حضور کردهای سوری در مذاکرات ژنو انتقاد کرده و گفته بدون کردها این مذاکرات به نتیجه‌ای نخواهد رسید. اما اردوغان رئیس جمهور ترکیه امروز راهی پاکستان می شود تا در اجلاس سازمان همکاری‌های اقتصادی اکو شرکت کند. آنطور که شبکه دولتی ترکیه می گوید او همچنین دیدارهای دوجانبه‌ای با رهبران کشورهای منطقه انجام خواهد داد و پیرامون تحولات جاری در منطقه با آنها گفتگو خواهد کرد. روزنامه سبا خبر می‌دهد که در پی آزادسازی شهر الباب بخشی از ساکنان این شهر به محل زندگی خود برگشتند. و اما روزنامه حریت در تیتر خودش از اتحادیه اروپا گلایه می‌کند و می‌نویسد اروپا با قانون لغو ویزا برای گرجستان موافقت کرده، اما به ترکیه گفته باز هم منتظر باش. یکی از موارد اختلاف اتحادیه اروپا برای لغو ویزای شهروندان ترکیه موضوع محدودیت آزادی‌های مدنی در این کشور و فشار بر منتقدان و روزنامه نگاران است. و نهایتاً روزنامه خبر ترک می نویسد نقشه محو داعش در دست ترامپ است.